Then one night, everything changed. A car pulled up at an unusual hour. A figure stepped out quickly and moved toward the building with the kind of purpose that people who are trying not to be noticed often project without realizing it. The officer, watching through his scope, adjusted his position. He looked at the face. He looked again. Then he pressed the button on his radio and said, very calmly, the 4 words the entire operation had been built toward. I have visual confirmation. Back at the command post, the room erupted, not into noise, but into a focused electric silence. Every person in that space understood what those words meant. This was the moment. After months of frustration, leaked operations, compromised checkpoints, and a criminal who had made the entire police force look helpless, this was it. But the commanding officer held up his hand. We do this right, he said. We take our time, we position everyone, and we do not move until every exit is covered. He looked around the room, because if he reaches a car and a steering wheel, we may never see him again. Every man in that room nodded, because every man in that room knew it was true. The operation was assembled with a precision that mirrored, deliberately, purposefully, the precision that Anini himself had once been famous for. Officers moved through Benin City without sirens, without radio traffic that could be intercepted, without any of the usual signals that might travel through a compromised channel and arrive at the wrong ears. They surrounded the building like water rising around an island, slowly, quietly, from every direction at once. And when the signal came, they moved together. The door came down, the hallways filled with sound and light, and the controlled chaos of an operation finally executing exactly as planned. Somewhere in the building, a gun went off, then another, and for those few terrible seconds, nobody knew how it would end. Then the shouting changed, the energy shifted, and word passed from room to room through the team like a current. They had him. When news broke across Nigeria the following morning, the reaction was something that Benin City hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. Raw, complicated, almost disbelieving relief. People gathered around radios. Newspapers rushed editions out before sunrise. On the streets, in the markets, at bus stops, strangers talked to each other like old friends. For the first time in months, nothing is wrong. But the arrest was only the beginning of what was uncovered. As investigators began working through everything that Anini and his associates told them, willingly or otherwise, the picture that emerged was worse than even the most cynical officer had feared. The rumors that had circulated for months about inside help weren't rumors anymore. They were facts, names, dates, communications that should never have existed. Officers who had taken oaths to protect the public had instead used those positions to shield a criminal network from the very operations they were meant to support. A deputy superintendent of police was among those eventually tried and sentenced. It was the kind of revelation that doesn't just close a case. It forces a country to look at itself directly and ask the questions it has been avoiding. How deep does it go? Who else knew? And how many people suffered because someone with a badge decided that a uniform was something to hide behind rather than something to live up to? Lawrence Anini was executed by firing squad on March 29, 1987. He was estimated to be in his mid-20s, because that is the part of Anini's story that the legend tends to erase. Not the fear he created, not the chaos he caused, but the person underneath all of it. A boy from a quiet community outside Benin City, gifted with instincts that could have built something remarkable, who chose instead the only road he could find in a world that had never bothered to show him another one. His name is still spoken in Edo State today, not with pride, not exactly with sorrow, but with the weight that Nigerians give to stories that are true and uncomfortable and refuse to be neatly resolved, the kind of story that makes you sit quietly for a moment after it ends, because Anini the Law is gone. But the system that made him possible, the cracks, the corruption, the young men with nowhere to go and nobody to invest in them, those things didn't die with him on that March morning in 1987, and until they do, his story will keep finding new ways to be relevant. If this story hit different for you, smash that like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it means everything to us. Subscribe if you're not already part of this community, because we tell these stories the way they deserve to be told. And drop a comment below. Do you think Anini was a product of the system that failed him, or do we give criminals too much sympathy?